The Houston Rockets started their season 0-2. They lost in double OT to the Thunder, and they lost to the Pistons 115 to 111. So not ideal, but Will and I are going to dive into both of those games. So stay tuned for this episode of the Brad and Will Show.
All right, and welcome back to the episode of the Brado and Will Show. Today, we're going to go over the first two games of the Houston Rockets season. Of course, they played the Oklahoma City Thunder in double OT, lost by 1 point. Then we played the Detroit Pistons last night. Y'all might see this same night, if not the next day, but played the Detroit Pistons, lost them as well, 0-2 on the season so far. So we're here to recap both those two games in case you missed them, kind of give you our 2 cents on them. But let's start with opening night. With the Thunder, man, 125-124 double OT thriller. I think the immediate takeaway for me from this game, I'll talk about Shingo in a second, is just I thought we looked bad this game. Personally, thought we had a lot of mistakes offensively and defensively. You can tell this team is still kind of getting to know one another. We saw that a lot in the Pistons. Well, they're still figuring each other out for the first time because we are, if you think about it, we're down 3 of our 5 starters from last season. There's a lot of new guys into the mix, guys with larger and more expanded roles, and even the guys we brought in to supplant the depth we lost, and like Dorian Finney-Smith, he's not even out there just yet. So obviously, this is almost kind of a new team to a degree. So I noticed that it looked bad. It looked really, really bad, and I think the encouraging part about how bad it looked is that there were so many different ways that you could have done something different and changed the outcome of the game. KD makes a free throw in regulation, game over. If Amin Thompson does not go 0 of 7 from 3, he just makes 1 3, game over. If we'll talk about Reed and Tari in a second, those two guys struggling through the first 2 games of the season, those two guys turn in better games. Game over, right? There were so many different ways we could have won that game. We played bad offensively and defensively, and we lost by 1 point to the defending champs. I know everybody's gonna say, but Will, they didn't have Jalen Williams. My counter to that is, okay, well, we were down our starting point guard, which I know that sounds like a joke, but I mean, if you watched the Pistons yesterday, you see how important Fred VanVleet is to this basketball team. So, not saying that Jalen Williams and Fred are the same, but OKC is a good team with and without Jalen Williams, and we were able to go toe to toe with them, looking terrible. So, even though I don't like losing, and even though it would have been really fun to beat the Thunder on opening night, I am not as discouraged, or not even discouraged. That's not the wrong word to use. I wasn't frustrated by losing this game because I thought that there was so many identifiable ways we could have won it, and we lost to probably not even probably, they're going to be the best team in the league this year.
For sure.
So, yeah, that's kind of my general overview. I'll kind of go with specifics about like Şengün in a second, and then like obviously like Reed and Tari. But yeah, that's my kind of general overview of the game.
Yeah, I'll say this. The Rockets were winning that game for 41 minutes, and they found a way to lose. Just looking at the team stats, they doubled the amount of turnovers that OKC had, 24 turnovers to 12. And that goes to Will's conversation about having a point guard. It's very important getting your sets and not play sloppy brand of basketball. But outside of that, it was fun to finally watch the Houston Rockets play in a regular season game, first game for Kevin Durant. He had 23 points, shot 9 of 16 from the field. They didn't get a lot of shots up once he checked in the fourth quarter, and that goes into the organization and having a point guard. You got to be able to get the rock to KD and let him flourish. That just didn't happen down the stretch. Amin caught a cramp. Reed came in, and he was looking for his shot a little too much. Again, they want him to play confident, but you can't play too confident in the sense that you're overlooking Kevin Durant or Alperen Şengün, who was having the best game in his life. So yeah, get KD to rock. They talked about that after the first game. They wanted to try to do that. They obviously did in the Detroit game. We'll talk about that. But yeah, I also mentioned Şengün. Yeah, I said it was the best game of his life. Yeah, 39 points, 11 boards, 7 assists, 5 threes, career high. He was shooting with confidence, the most confident I've ever seen him shoot a basketball in my entire life. And that was beautiful to see. I love to see that from him. He hit 3 shots in the last minute to tie or take the lead. That was like a record for big men in the last 25, 26 years. So yeah, I had a great time watching that game. Again, they lost. It came down to turnovers, some key fouls down the stretch. It's tough. You ideally like Amin to finish that game, and then of course you ideally would like Fred, but I can't keep beating that that dead horse. So yeah, it's OKC. First game of the year, I couldn't be too upset with it. You know what I'm saying? It's OKC. Like if you're gonna lose to some team and it's OKC, I won't be mad. But Detroit is a different story, and as I mentioned, we'll get into that. But last thing I'll say on that game, looking at this box score, Steven Adams was pretty impactful, as he always is. And the double big lineup was actually a +3 in that game. So they outscored them 38-35. So I was cool with the starting lineup. But yeah, well, what's your assessment, unless you want to jump to the next game, what was your assessment on the starting lineup, I guess, just from the first one, the jumbo lineup?
Like I said, I think that they were that was the right lineup, right?
Yep.
You try to match OKC's physicality and win the possession battle by going double big, and they're going to try
Mhm.
to turn you over. Reed probably pretty turnover prone at this point in time because he's still getting acclimated to the NBA speed and his new role. So like I thought that was a really smart decision. I do want to talk about this a bit more with the Pistons, but I think we probably should stop running double big as much. But I did want to highlight Alperen Sengun before we move any further
For sure.
because I think he played phenomenal in that game. He had 39 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, and a block. He shot 68 true shooting, 10 11 from the free throw line, 5 of 8 from 3, which is the huge part here. He was pulling them and pulling them with confidence. He caught the ball a couple times, top of the key at the elbow, and just let it fly. And I remember a couple times in playback, I was like, "Whoa! Like you don't have to shoot that." And he
He
shot it
was
and made
hitting
it.
it. Yeah, he was hitting it.
So like I want to make sure he gets his credit for that. He was phenomenal this game. Even he had like the little Embiid pull, and Katie got up off his feet and was like mean mugging him because he's like, I didn't know you had that in your bag. And so I think it's pretty like telling that on a court that featured Kevin Durant, Chet Holmgren, SGA, MVP guys. I thought Alperen Sengun was the best player. I don't think that's a biased take because we're Rockets fans. I think objectively speaking, the best player on that court was Alperen Sengun. So he looked really good. He looked like somebody who should be on an All NBA team this year. And then, like I said, I'll kind of carry this much over into my next point with the Pistons. Reed Shepard and Tari Eason have looked abysmal through not preseason, we're in the regular season. Through 2 games of regular season, they have looked abysmal. Reed struggled a lot with OKC's physicality down the stretch of that game, especially once Amin fouled out, and it was all right. It's your turn to kind of be the ball handler of this group. And he struggled, like I said, with that physicality. He struggled to get to a spot and create there. And then there was a lot of times I think where he was just like a deer in headlights, where it's like, okay, dude, you got the ball across half court, run the offense, get the ball to Sengun, get the ball to KD. And he was just clearly too sped up, couldn't do it, and it looked bad. And this is on top of him. SGA, who finished the game with 35 points, 35, 5, and 5. Not even the most efficient night, but in the fourth quarter through overtime period, he had 24 of his 35 points. And a lot of that, I regret to inform you, was on Reed Shepard. They were hunting us in our zone, specifically hunting out Reed Shepard, attacking that same left side of the court and making us pay because obviously Reed Shepard cannot contain Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at all. So he was bleeding points defensively and was kind of contributing nothing offensively. And I think it's pretty damning that Reed Shepard was horrendous and Ime Udoka still was like, I can't play Tari. I think that's like just as bad of an indictment because Tari Eason was even worse somehow. All over the place, couldn't hit the side of a barn with his jumper. He was out of control defensively.
Yeah, he was 1 for 6 in that game.
Yep, 1 for 6 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3. He had 3 turnovers to 0 assists. Tari Eason should never have the ball enough to have 3 turnovers, which is just ridiculous. And like, yeah, he had a block. He did get that key block on HJ. I want to say force overtime. So I will give him that much prop. But outside of that, he really didn't. Like, I thought his defense was bad that game, and yeah, I don't know. For someone who declined 100 M's the other day on a contract extension, I would assume you would at least come out a little bit better than that. So I think it's pretty damning that Reed Shepard was a liability, and we were like, yeah, we still can't play Tari Eason. So I wanted to highlight that. I think those 2 guys were uniquely bad compared to Alperen Sengun being uniquely good.
Last thing I'll say on that game, we didn't really talk about Bari that much. He did hit some big shots down the stretch of that game, some threes. He did airball the game winner, but I thought he played a good game all around. So I did want to highlight that. But yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with what you said about Reed and Tari. I think that was Tari's worst game. What we love about Tari, I mentioned it time and time again, perfect energy guy off the bench, deflection, steals, leading the fast break points. So, I mean, he was really bad in the preseason at shooting threes, and that kind of carried over into the regular season. So hopefully he finds his groove there. But yeah, he just didn't look good in that game. And as Will mentioned, Ime was like, "Yeah, I got to play Reed instead of Tari." So I think they'll both bounce back. First 2 games of the year, again, not ideal, but they got to step it up. But we
I
can
also
jump.
want to. I'll say real quick the last thing I'll say because
Go
at
ahead.
least for Reed, right? I think at least with Reed, I understand. That's kind of what I expected it to look like against OKC. They are like the one team that is uniquely designed to frustrate inexperienced ball handlers like that. That's they got nothing but a bunch of Caruso. Which, by the
Yeah.
way, the Rockets did struggle to get the ball to Kevin Durant. This game, that's actually the last thing I should say. We struggled to get the ball to KD a lot.
That was the main issue. Yeah.
A lot of that was Reed. A lot of that was Amin. A lot of that was the Rockets not being used to playing with KD. The other
Mhm.
half of it is Lou Dort was just fouling the hell out of Kevin Durant the entire game, like just holding him, grabbing him. And I mean, I get it. When you have a defensive reputation, you get away with it. Like we were fouling the hell out of stuff in the playoffs last year, so I can only complain so much. But yeah, like KD was getting, they were fouled. They were like bear hugging him off ball, like just denying him the ball entirely. So
And well, real quick, I should have posted this stat. I never did, but KD, he was 5 or 6 when Dort was guarding him in that game. So that's why he was bear hugging and
I
fouling
mean,
him
yeah,
because it was
the
going to be a
problem
bucket.
is you just need to deny him the ball, which they did a really
Yeah.
good job of denying him the ball. We couldn't get him the ball. Like I said, I think a lot of that also is just the team figuring out how to play with him. Like they're not used to this, which is also why you kind of want. Well, I won't get into that, but yeah, that's all I got to say about
I knew what you were going to say. I
yeah,
hear you.
that's
That first
also
game, though, right?
yeah, no, that's everything for the first game though. Like I said, not the world's worst game, honestly. I'm gonna keep it a bean. Like it looked bad, I'll tell you that much, right? It wasn't the greatest game, but
Mhm.
like we competed, we stayed into the games to the very end. Like I said, a couple of things, different things go our way. We win that game, even with everything going bad. So, like, that's not the like, and it was against the defending champs. Like, only so
Mhm.
much you can do there.
Mhm.
This Detroit game is the one that
It was ugly.
really is just inexcusable. I mean, it's a 4-point loss, and I'm not going to sit here and act like Detroit scrubs because they're not. They're a playoff team. They're actually been pretty good. I think. I think Cade has another level he can take his game to. But man, that this is a game that when I tell you, no one but Kevin Durant and like a half of Josh Okogie played well today or yesterday against the Pistons. No one played well, right? Just to rattle off because KD did have 37 points on 9 of 18 from the field, 3 from the 3-point line. He got to the free throw line 18 times, made 16 of them for a 71 true shooting. He was obviously phenomenal. But then you go to Şengün, and Şengün has 17 points on 18 shots. He looked a lot like last year's Şengün, where he just couldn't make
Anything.
anything, honestly.
Anything.
Nothing was going. The
Mhm.
same level of confidence he was pulling with his threes on Tuesday against the Thunder. He did not have that at all against the Pistons. Amin Thompson, my goodness, I have no idea what's going on with him. He got into early foul trouble, so he couldn't even start the second half of the um, of the game. And then when he was on the court, bro is just not his normal stuff. I mean, he's still very much adjusting to running point guard. And I also think it's taxing him, right? It's hard to run a point guard full time and then also go guard SGA and Cade Cunningham full court, which is another reason why number 5 is missed. But yeah, like stuff like that adds up, and he was awful. Once again, 10 points on 8 shots, did not feel his impact at all. Jabari Smith Jr. could not hit a shot to save his life. He was at 11 points on 14 shots, 3 of 9 from 3, 37 true shooting. That's obviously unacceptable. And then, like I said, the two gifts that gave through these first 2 games, Reed Shepherd and Tari Eason, once again found a way to be uniquely bad in these minutes. Reed didn't play as much this time because Tari ended up playing more, but still same concepts. Couldn't hit a shot from Tari. I feel like he wasn't as he was like Tari's a chaotic player. He was uniquely chaotic and undisciplined defensively
Mhm.
against the Pistons. I didn't feel his physicality on the glass or anything like that today. I thought yesterday, thought it was bad there. Like bro, he had a nasty possession where he can like ISO to end the shot clock, and like I want to say he didn't even draw a rim. It was bad. And then Reed Shepherd was 3 or 4 from 3, 9 points, but then he had 9 points, 11 shots. So it's obviously not good. 3 turnovers. And same thing there. He looked like a deer in headlights. It's not look like he knows what to do. He's struggling to get the ball. 2 guys where they're supposed to get the ball. He's looked not like I said, the Thunder. I kind of will grant you some grace because it's a bunch of Carusos and Lou Dort's and Case and Wallace's running out there.
Mhm.
I mean, dude, I'm looking at the Pistons and like, what's my man named the shooting guard? Duncan Robinson played 38 minutes. Like, no disrespect, Duncan Robinson ain't locking nobody up out there. Right? There's no reason for you to be struggling that hard, looking like a deer in headlights against this team.
Mhm.
So obviously that was terrible. But Josh Okogie looked pretty good. I'll say this much, and then I guess I'll kind of try to like land my plane. I think Steven Adams' box score, he had 11 points and 10 rebounds. He looked pretty good, and he was on the glass. But I think Steven Adams is bleeding so much value offensively because there's no spacing whatsoever right now. Just keeping it blunt, there's no room for anybody to do anything. That's why a lot of like KD's offense right now is kind of just handoffs and pull up middies. And Amin can't really get downhill, and Şengün really can't do too much because there's no spacing because there's a bunch of guys on there with Steven Adams. And then I think the biggest issue with the Pistons game is we got punked more than I think I've seen this team get punked maybe since that Lakers game. Ime's first, was that his first year? Yeah.
That was his first year. It was January in his
Yes.
first year.
Yes. That no, I think it was December. I'm sure that was December. But
It was one of those two. Yeah.
but that like next to that game, I think this is the worst I've seen our team get punked. The Pistons completely matched our physicality and bested it, honestly, the entire game. And I'm not gonna blame all that on Steven Adams because he's obviously, 10 rebounds, he's good. But I think part of what allowed them to be so much more like to win the margins is we're in a zone. And a lot of that is because of Steven Adams. A lot of it is also because Reed Shepard is a cone right now. But we're in a zone and we don't know how to run zone. And so guys are out of place, not in the right place to box out, not in the right place to get rebounds. We're losing guys in transition, losing guys off screens. The play that absolutely murdered us was Cade Cunningham on the high screen. We'd have Şengün show level of the screen. A man chases to get back. And because Şengün isn't peeling off quick enough, now there's a roller going straight to the basket, wide open. Somebody got to step and pick him up. And now there's somebody open in the corner, right? And now it's just the rotation going on. And if it's not a three, three in the corner, it's a three at the elbow. They're attacking, they're getting downhill, they're getting good looks. And then when they were, even if they were missing them, because we're out of sorts, because Şengün's out of place and Adams is over here, we're not even getting a rebound. Right? We're giving them multiple. They put us. They played the way we did. They got a bunch of offensive rebounds, and it's easier to score when you're getting 2 or 3 cracks at it as opposed to one. And so, yeah, like that's how you lose, man. To quote the great philosopher Stephen Silas, we didn't get after it like we're supposed to. Straight up, we just did not get after it like we're supposed to. And that's why I think this game really demoralized me because at least with OKC, you can see that it's growing pains, a team uniquely designed to frustrate us, and like the effort was still there. I cannot say that they tried their hardest yesterday. Look, watching the game, I can't say that. That did not look like Houston Rockets basketball at all. And that's how we lose, man. That's how you lose to a team that like you're just better than. Let's keep it a beat. We're better than the Pistons. We should not be losing this game, especially off of starting the season, 0 for 1. Now you're 0 for 2. So yeah, that is how I feel. But yeah, like, bottom line is I don't want to blame Steven Adams entirely, but I think he bleeds value offensively because you can't space at all, right? I think double big needs to be used as a what's the word I want to use here? You want to use double big as it shouldn't be the default, right? It should be situation. That's the word I was looking for. It should be a situational thing, right? You should use it when it makes sense, right? Şengün should be your starting center. Adams should be your backup 5. If there's a team, like for example, OKC, where it makes sense, cool. If there's a lineup you want to exploit, cool. But starting the game that way, ending the game that way, I think that's a bad idea every single night because of what happened. And like I said, I think it bleeds value offensively, and I think it also forces to go to a zone, which at this point in time, like we don't know how to run it. And I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. If you're an NBA team, zone is not hard. It's not a 3-2. We're running 2-3 essentially. It's not hard to beat. So yeah, no, I wasn't a fan, and yeah, that's how we lose.
Yeah, looking at that double big, it looks like the score was 50-49 in Houston's favor, but defense was awful, as Will mentioned. It had negative net rating slightly. It wasn't pretty. And I've said this time and time again, I wouldn't start this double big lineup going forward. I would start Dorian Finney-Smith when he gets back, and then still run the double big lineup in spurts. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't start it. But yeah, just looking at that game as a whole, I look at the young core. I put the blame on them. I'm not gonna lie. They took 68% of the team shots, 83 shots. They took 56 shots total. They only made 15, so they shot 15 of 56, 26%. And we'll write out the numbers. Şengün was 5 of 18, Jabari 3 of 14, Reed 3 for 11, Amin 2 of 8, and Tari 2 of 5. I just don't know how they're going to win a basketball game, regardless of what Kevin Durant does. He had 37 points, 9 to 18 shooting, like 16 to 18 on the free throw line, didn't miss a three, and they still lost the game. He didn't even have a turnover. So, I mean, I just look at the young core. You got to be more efficient than that. And as Will mentioned, they got punked. This team should never get out rebounded, especially if you're going with the lineup that's the tallest in NBA history. They got out rebounded by the Detroit Pistons, which is unacceptable. They shouldn't be getting out rebounded by any team. That's the standard I have for this roster. But yeah, it boils down to those few things. Reed, he hit 3 threes, but outside of that, he didn't hit a single shot inside the arc. He's forcing the action. Again, I like that he's being confident, but it looks bad. It doesn't look good. I want to keep being confident, but at some point, it's like, bro, this is not looking good. This is the bad brand of basketball. So I'm hoping it clicks. Me and him have come on this show plenty of times and say, don't sell your Reed stock. We're buying stock. We came on here with Vanessa Richards, said the same thing. So I'm not just gonna give up my stock 2 games into the season, but I do have standards for Reed Sheppard. It does. Just keep it a bean. But that's what I noticed from that last game. Again, just sloppiness. The young core shot again, 15 to 56 from the field. I do have high standards for Sengun. I've been talking about him since he came to Houston. Really big Eurobasket. Really good first game of the year. 5 to 18 is not the standard for Alperen Sengun. That's an awful game from him. 17-7-7 is a bad game from Alperen Sengun. I have high standards for him. So I think they'll be fine. They play Brooklyn next game. I swear to God,
Brooklyn beat us 2 times last year.
They sure did. They sure did. And Fred didn't play in either of those games. Or he played in the first half of the first one. The Brad on Will Rockets Twitter night. Bad day. Yeah. That's my assessment of that game. I'm just gonna keep it stacked. Young core has to be better. And they can't get punked on the glass. So they're gonna probably start that double big lineup. I doubt they go to Reed Sheppard from what they've seen. But that'd be the only option.
I'm not gonna lie, man. You might gotta go to Aaron. Like Aaron Holiday probably should get some burn. And then Josh Okogie's played well.
Would you start Josh Okogie?
Over Adams, I would at this point. I don't. No, I would probably go Aaron Holiday if I don't trust Reed.
Because you still got to go for space.
Yes, I would go. I would start Aaron Holiday. If I don't trust Reed enough, I'd go Holiday.
I wouldn't give up on Reed though. 2 games.
I mean, I'm not giving up on Reed either. I think he's going. They're saying Chet got put in a body bag. Somebody baptized him.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, I don't. Hold on, I gotta see this. My fault, chat. Oh yeah, that's bad. That's bad. But yeah, I'm not giving up on Reed at all. I think he's gonna be fine. I just think that I'm not in the interest of losing games to develop him. I'm not gonna do that.
I agree with that. So, no, that's real. That's real.
So if Aaron, like I know Aaron Holiday can do 2 things. He can dribble a basketball. He can shoot. Now he'll compete on defense. I know he'll do 3 things. He'll compete. He may not be the best, but he'll compete on that end. And I mean, if compared to what Reed's been giving us these last 2 games, that's obviously an improvement. So yeah, but yeah, Steve Adams got to come off that bench. I can't start Steve-O no more. The other thing I want to do a couple of things before we end the pod though.
That's cool. Let's do it.
Number 1, I want everybody to remember that. I mean, we're 0-2 right now, but we were 0-3 in 2024, and we finished the season 41-41. And then we started last season 1-2. We lost overnight to the Hornets, beat the Grizzlies, and then lost to the Spurs. I want to say 1-2 on the season. And so obviously, like when we played the game, what was it, 52 wins? So like it's not the end of the world at all if you start your season 0-2. It's a lot more important what you do in like the next 2 months than what you do in the first week of basketball. Even though losing does suck. So make up for it these next couple of games. The other thing is we have to DFS getting healthy is going to be a game changer for us. If nothing else, because it gives you another playable body. But if we're in this time being where Tari Eason and Reed Sheppard are borderline unplayable, because that's what they've been so far. They've been borderline unplayable, right? You have someone who can come in and play good defense, and unlike Josh Okogie, he can shoot. Dorian is an elite shooter, from a statistical standpoint. So bringing that guy back is going to change a lot. Unfortunately, we don't really know a timetable on him. I'd probably guess he's going to be out for like another 3 to 4 weeks. But when he comes back, hopefully he comes back healthy. When that happens, I think he's going to change a lot for this team. Agreed. And then the last thing is I'm going to do the same exercise that I have been doing on Playback, and we did it on, was it Rockets Collective? I need y'all to look at this, man, because I am so tired of the complaints. I think we ask for things that do not exist. And
I'm giving you the ISO.
I'm going
Go
to
ahead.
show you why what y'all are asking for is not possible. Number one, we are $1.2 million under the first apron, meaning in a vet, I'll show you a vet minimum deal is 2.2 million. So we couldn't even offer a vet minimum deal, even if we wanted to, right? But let's say, for example, that we somehow could, right? Let's say we could. Let me look at the chat flip. Okay, look, these are the guys who are currently free agent guards. Right, look at this list and tell me which one of these guys is coming in and saving our season. Does that say Jack McVay is a guard? Like, come on, bro. What?
Yeah, Corey. So the guards I see, right? Start from the top.
Who's saving? Hey, look, Malik Beasley's not a point guard. He's clearly the best player left, but there's a reason he's here.
Dinwiddie is the name people are gonna say.
Spencer Dinwiddie is not good at basketball. I need y'all to think about this for a second. If the Charlotte Hornets, who have been the definition of a train wreck for the last like 5 to 6 seasons, they signed him this summer. This isn't a situation where he got traded there or he was like a veteran who had been there for a couple years. They went out and signed him this summer, and then after training camp was like, nah, bro, we're good. Think about that for a second, bro. If a team that bad signs you and then sees you in person and is like, nah, bro, we're good, what does that tell you? What is that? It's the same. And I'm getting flashbacks because this is what people said when we signed what's the shooter Reggie Bullock. You remember we got Reggie Bullock 2 years ago?
I do recall.
Everybody was like, man, he finna come in and play this amount of minutes and be this guy and that guy. And I'm like, y'all don't realize the Spurs cut him. If a bad team cuts you, and it's not because, you know what I'm saying, like it wasn't a situation like, you remember when I think it was Tyson Chandler got like traded from the Suns, but it was so to go to the Lakers as like a favor. It wasn't that, bruh. It was, we don't want to employ you. If a bad team says we don't want to employ you, that usually says a lot. So yeah, like he's not good. But I want you to look at this. Malcolm Brogdon's other name. The dude retired. He's also not that good, but he also retired, so he's not an option. Look at these names, man. Yeah,
Corey Joe.
Corey Joe to come say the season. You know what I'm saying, like, I don't. What point guard Cameron Payne finna do it? I'm surprised he's a free agent, but like Cameron Payne finna come do it. Elfrid Payton gonna save us. Landry Shamet, Ben Simmons.
Hey, we can spin the block on Ty.
Get Ty back. You know what I'm saying? DeLon Wright. These are the point guards that are gonna save our season, ladies and gentlemen. But let's go back.
People are gonna say Ben Simmons.
Yeah, no, he's not a point guard anymore. He's a big. But okay, we're gonna go back to the list, right? So even though that's not even an option, let's say hypothetically speaking, they were able to trade away Aaron Holiday to a team with cap space, create the necessary cap space to go out there and sign a free agent. I just showed you it sucks. So like the guy who's coming to save this team isn't there. The other issue is, let's, like, for example, Derek White's the guy that I love. That I would shed so many tears to have him on this team. I think he's the perfect player for this team. But Derek White is making $28 million. Mind you, we are $1 million away from the first apron, meaning that any deal that we make has to be within this $1 million. We cannot go into the first apron. So how do you get $28 million in salary to trade for Derek White? Can't trade KD. I mean, I guess you could trade KD, but we trading KD for Derek White? I don't think so. You're not trading Şengün. Fred VanVleet, everybody wants to trade Fred VanVleet. He has an implied no trade clause. He's not going nowhere. I regret to inform you that guy is not waiving that no trade clause to leave Houston. It's not. He was at practice. He's not going nowhere. You can trade Steven Adams. So you want to put Steven Adams in a deal. Sure,
they're not doing
same
that,
thing.
Yeah.
You can trade Dorian. Maybe Dorian sucks, and you trade him, right? But also, both these guys are currently under the recently signed restriction thing. So you can't even trade him right now if you wanted to. But okay, let's fast forward to December 15th. If you want to trade him. Yeah, you could trade Dorian. But I mean, me and Brad highlighted it in our fifth starter episode. He's really good. He's really good, bro. He's the kind of
huge impact.
He's the kind of guy you want to keep, right? You don't want to trade this guy, right? You can't trade, even if you want to trade Jabbar, you cannot trade him. He's a poison pill contract, so he's not going nowhere. I don't think they want to trade him anyways. So I'm gonna reach up. Everybody's mad at reach up, but right now, after 2 games of the season, it would be an equally bad look. Not it wouldn't be equal. It would be a worse look if the Rockets. Reach has played like what 50 games of his career. How many games did Reach
55, probably 54.
Let's see. I'm gonna look it up so I can speak accurately because I don't think he's even played 82 yet.
No, he's
Bro
definitely
has
not worth
played
82.
54 games. He's played 50.
I was right. Yeah, 54
Played
games.
52
Yeah.
last year and 2 this season. If you think the Rockets
Mhm.
are going to trade away the guy they drafted number 3 overall, 54 games into his season, you are like into his career, you were incorrect. Reed is not getting traded. I regret to inform you that's not happening. Right? Amin Thompson is borderline untouchable. Clint Capella, you want to trade this guy, but look, he's only making $7 million a year. We're trying to get to 28. It's a pretty
Mhm.
big difference. And then like Tari's
Mhm.
and same thing there. I think Tari's the guy because he didn't sign that extension. People will be okay moving him. Preferably you don't want to move him. Hopefully he just bounces back and he's a good player. But okay, you want to trade him.
Mhm.
Still the thing, $6 million. You add these deals together, that don't even get you the 28 you need. Right. And that's what I'm saying. We did this exercise, bros. We can just go down the teams, right? People talking about where the Kings at? Kings. Because they have Malik Monk and Dennis Schroeder. We can't afford that. It's not enough. You know what I'm saying? We don't got enough money there. Even the Bulls with Kobe White. He's making about 13, I want to say. Yeah, 13 million. We don't have 13 million. You know what I'm saying? Brian, what's the other team out there people have been trying to get to trade with?
Every team I've heard, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I've heard every team in the book. Dennis Schroeder is the
I
name
mean,
of
he's
it.
in the
So the,
Kings.
the
14
yeah,
million.
yeah,
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 we can't afford that.
yeah. Hmm.
I don't know. I saw people say Mike Conley, and not only is Mike
Mm-mm.
Conley making 11 million, I don't think that the Wolves want to trade him because that's the other conundrum is good point guards don't become available. Like TJ McConnell's a guy who's making, I think I want to say like 11 to 12 million. Yeah,
Hmm.
about 10 million.
Hmm.
I love TJ McConnell, but if you're the Pacers, why would you trade him?
Especially with no Halliburton, that's not
Yeah,
happening.
with no Hallie, why would you trade him? Right. The other guy who everybody's been talking about, who recently got signed, Tyus Jones. Man, I regret you can afford him, right? Because you could theoretically move. Where is Capella's contract? You could do that works. That works
Hmm.
financially. So I want you to go look at what Tyus Jones is doing so far this season. Go look and go look at what he did last year for the Suns and come back to me, man. The point of the matter is good guards are not on vet minimum deals. They're not making $7 million. They're making a lot of money. And the Rockets don't have a lot of money to spend. So the point of the exercise is when you get on, you know what I'm saying, you get mad and why isn't Stone doing this and doing that? Well, go to the trade machine and you make it work, and then come let me know how far that gets you because it's not happening. So
Yeah,
um,
it's a necessary exercise. People are begging and trade this, trade that. At the end of the day, if something is going to happen, it's going to be after December 15th. And even if it gets to that point of the season, it's going to still be tough to make some shake. So,
ask yourself if you would be willing to trade away two of Clint. I mean, not Clint Capella, Tari Eason, Dorian Finney-Smith, or Steven Adams. If the answer to that question is yes, all right, we can go get a point guard.
mhm.
But now you start running into depth issues because now you traded away two of your guys for one guy, right? But if you want to keep DFS Steven Tari, you don't want a point guard. That's what I'm saying. You're not doing the price of business. So that's all I got to say.
And that's all we really have for this episode. We didn't want to come here to an 0-2 team and again jumping in the trade machine. It's not, as I said 20 times, it's not ideal. But we are hoping to see a bounce back. We have Brooklyn on Monday. I forget who the game is Wednesday. Toronto is the Wednesday game. They better be 2-2. And then Will and I will come back after those two games. But we appreciate y'all as always for tuning in. Let us know your thoughts. What y'all think about Will's exercise in the trade machine? Y'all panicking about Reed Shepherd? What are the thoughts there? Şengün's first game. Just let us know whatever you think. I'll get back to you on the comments. But appreciate y'all for always listening. If you're still here for sure. If you haven't subbed yet, please do. Me and Will, we're trying to get to 5K one of these days. So definitely sub for us. But yeah, as always, we appreciate y'all for listening. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon.